your work with Godard that goes for a long time.
Since 1990, I think it was Nouvelle Vague, it was the first movie.
And I think it changes as well something in the way Godard works with the sounds and with the music, because you gave him, I think, a kind of range of possibilities that he really used it, and that changed a lot, because you see more and more the presence of the music in the Godard movies is so phenomenal. And I think, do you discuss with him, or he's completely just you give him all these possibilities, how the things go?
We're discussing a lot without talking too much, and we exchange thoughts without talking too much. So when he started the work on the editing of Nouvelle Vague, he came to Munich, and we listened to music for a whole day in my office. And he went back with new musical, maybe structures, perhaps also ideas. And in fact, he started a film with Dino Saluzzi, which a piece called Andina. And we heard and saw Dino Saluzzi just here. And I think the whole rhythm of the editing changed. And I was in a mixage with him. It was our first encounter, and it was a wonderful experience for me to see and hear him walk, and in silence, and but with very clear ideas to François Musi, he's a sound engineer. And it took him quite a long time to go through all these sequences and to the levels and the lengths of the musical kind of guidance to or comment to the very often melancholic kind of meaning, but not so melancholic cinematographic kind of transitions. So it was a wonderful walk, and I saw what kind of a great master he is. He's also a composer, in my opinion, because the way he gets the sound, the natural sounds, the sounds of voice, sounds of everything, sounds of birds, I like his barking dogs quite often. And I just thought about, when I saw this film again, how much we learned from Godard's barking dogs. And I really enjoyed working with him. He's a very humble person also.
I would like to ask you, if you had to do, since you began SCM for like 40 years ago, if you had to do something starting today, with the music business and the music situation that we have nowadays, where would you begin? Would you go looking for the organic sounds, the acoustic sounds, the barking dogs, or everything that surrounds us, or would you go maybe to the next step, maybe into more?
If I would live here, I would go towards the evening light and look at the sea, and hopefully the wind will blow and the sound of the wave, and then probably would meditate what kind of things I would do. It's very difficult to do with all this information and digitalization, to start something fresh probably. So I think the meaning of the real sound, the real tone, the natural sound, and the acoustic music, and with all the overtones, would be a guidance for anybody who would start something like that. And when we started in the 60s, 70s, yes, end of the 60s, we also thought there's too much technology around. We also thought there's a crisis. Everything was, it's kind of the same, even though it was so different. But I heard so many times, oh, we have a crisis, we have to stop doing this, we're doing that. We had no vinyls anymore because of the oil crisis. We just overcame all the prices. And today I was asking a few interviews, what do you think about the change of record business, the music industry, and I said, well, I feel I'm not part of any industry, so I do today what I did 40 years ago, and I will do so as long as I can listen and can walk, because what I need is making music, and that's the only thing I can do. So if you want to do something that you feel is right for you and you have the capacity to do it please. Don't let anybody say it's difficult, too difficult. Start and see, get all the people together that share the same idea and the same dream, and you can realize it.
Eu queria agradecer imenso o ter feito a SEM, porque me permitiu a mim pessoalmente conhecer alguns músicos que me tocaram profundamente e mudaram a minha vida.
Thank you. I'm glad you said so.
E eu gostava de perguntar se, depois de todos estes anos, se é uma melhor pessoa pelas pessoas que conheceu, que teve possibilidade de conhecer e de...
Maybe in the film you saw that I have a very old recording equipment in my office, speakers from the 60s, not so fantastic speakers, but they became very, very good speakers, because in all these years they were kind of encountering and developed their own kind of membrane by good music from different sources, you know. So they became better and better. And the more music you hear and the more understand what it means to be nourished by music, the more strong you get. Yeah. I feel that these speakers are analogy to what I want to do.
Would you think that the melting, the music like Hopper and jazz like your project with Trovesi, Gianluigi Trovesi, Profumo di Violeta and others, and that is a tendency to that you feel it is getting stronger and stronger? Question number one. Question number two, is this film, Sounds and Silences, will it be possible to be distributed in the commercial channel for us that saw and others that would like to see it and will like to see it after we talk about it? Will it be in the market?
It started to be in the cinema in Germany. It was in 8 big cities actually, and it got a very prominent review in the Süddeutsche Zeitung and Frankfurt Allgemeine. So I'm very positively surprised that the people like it. So maybe it will be distributed in other countries too, who knows. But I'm glad that Paolo presented it here so that a few people can see it. But back to the opera, this was Trovesi's wish, and personally I have not such a great affinity, neither for opera or for projects that deal with operas, but that can be also a nice thing, encounter now and then.
Hello, Manfred. I'd like to thank you also for the great job you have done through all these years with ECM. I'd like to ask you a question. We all enjoy Keith Jarrett, of course, and I think Keith Jarrett is the star of the ECM, as I think you'll agree. Some of my friends are very disturbed with some piano recordings because of the voicings of Keith when he's playing, and sometimes they don't feel it, they don't like it. Did you ever have the temptation just to put it out, the voicings of Jarrett in some records?
It never disturbed me so much, actually. Today, maybe it would be easier to take some of the voice, let's say, in a second plan, but I think he sings less than he did before. And we recorded in Japan at the Sandberg concerts. There was no singing at all, even though in Japan they have all this white thing around their mouths, because when there's a little cough around, everybody walks around. Keith Jarrett should maybe be on stage with such a bandage too, I don't know. Maybe not, because people can make more noise about his habits and his things on stage. I feel that when you listen to Glenn Gould and listen to the Goldberg Variation or early recordings, I used to be in the studio with Glenn Gould two times and enjoyed very much his singing. It was an inner song that was very much in line, sometimes before the phrasing in the actual playing. He was singing a millisecond before. Sometimes the shadow line was a great artistic achievement. If Keith Jarrett sometimes is louder than Glenn Gould, it has to do maybe because he defines the music in this very moment, and sometimes it's not enough when it gets in his hand, it has to also coming out of his whatever mind, and maybe that uses the way through his singing. So let it be. If it's disturbing, then I feel we cannot do too much, because I don't know how to technically resolve this problem. But I don't want to.
Manfred, thank you. I don't know if there is any other question. The last one.
Hello, my name is João. I just wanted to congratulate you for everything you have given us from ECM, all the masterpieces that we have been hearing for these last 40 years. And I would like to ask you if it has ever crossed your mind to have a Portuguese artist, if there's anyone out there you have heard of or has presented your work to ECM, and because we have a lot of nice musicians, very good musicians in Portugal, which I think some of them are very close to the ECM sound or the ECM projects that you have presented. So I sometimes wonder if we will ever have a chance to have a Portuguese musician there.
You're right, there's so many good musicians here, and I follow quite often what's going on here. And unfortunately, sometimes I receive records when they're already done, and I say, why getting involved if someone else has done a good recording already? They're good recording producers here, good sound engineer. I think there's a very vivid scene in Lisbon, also the electronic music. I believe I would like to come to Lisbon and check out what's going on here, but I listen quite often to recordings. But a little sideline, you allow me, we have also Portuguese, or let's say Brazilian musicians like Egberto Gismonti or Nana Vasconcelos, that is also coming from this cultural circle. But one cannot do everything at the same time. So I still believe I have some time to discover also lively Portuguese music, and then maybe I go to record. I think there's very, very good music here and good recordings also.
Thank you, Manfred, for coming. And I would like to remember you that ECM tribute doesn't finish here. We have with us one of the greatest composers of our time, Gia Cancelli, and we have 3 concerts in homage to Gia, with the presence of 2 fantastic players that you saw, Dino Saluzzi and Anja Lechner, and one quartet that is here in Portugal, the Moscow quartet that is here. We start on Sunday and on Monday and Tuesday, and I really would like everyone to be there to go on this kind of tribute, because I think a tribute has to be a work in progress all the time, and I count with Manfred next year with other musicians and other kind of masterclass working something different.
I like to be involved. I really enjoy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.